Welcome everyone to the Side Drive Podcast, and welcome to another race review. Today, Bristol Motor Speedway Cup Series, and it was a battle. Let's just say that, a fight, as you could say, with Matt Dibenedetto and Denny Hamlin. It ended up being Denny Hamlin's day, but Matt Dibenedetto was so close to that first win.
Yeah, so close. Everybody, I believe, was rooting for him. It's just tough to see him lose it towards the end. So. He just keep digging and he's gonna get it.
Alright, so let's rewind the race all the way to qualifying. Denny Hamlin got the pole. He'd take the lead on the first restart, but Kyle Larson though would not let him get away. He was right there. I believe Larson had a faster car on the inside, but Hamlin was using that momentum on the top, and then Larson would use some lap traffic and get around him. But
yeah, I believe Denny, he was trying to get that high line started early. At first it wasn't really working too well, but eventually it paid off for him.
Then Hamlin would get back around Larson very soon. Joe Logano having a flat tire. It looked like Logano had the fastest car throughout all the practice sessions on like longer runs, but he never got to use his car because with that flat tire. So unfortunately, his day, it wouldn't come to an end. He would be able to fight up to like the top 20, but just a hard day for him.
Yeah, I believe if he could have lasted a couple more laps, maybe. I believe the caution come out then, didn't
it? Yes. Kyle Busch would go a lap down. Yes, at Bristol, Kyle Busch goes a lap down.
What?
It's starting to get where you might need to be concerned about Kyle Busch. Yes, he did finish in the top 5. That was just because he used some strategy to get up there, and he just hasn't had the speed lately. He's had speed and clean air, but throughout the field, it's been a struggle for him.
It's very unfortunate, in qualifying he had to go out, one of the first cars to go out, and I believe it really hurt him on his qualifying run. That's put him in the back. More back in there is really hard to pass once you get that far back, and the leaders were coming fast, and they caught him and put him lap down.
And then right when that happened, Austin Dillon blows the tire. Then Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin would be involved. That would not give Kyle Busch his lap back. No one would get the free pass there. So
yeah, because Jimmy Johnson was the free pass car since he was involved in the free pass cars, and Kyle Busch was right behind him, so he had to be stuck in a lap down.
So it would be Larson versus Elliott on the next restart. It would be Larson getting the win for the stage. And we start stage 2. Chase Elliott would lead off pit road. Then Kevin Harvick would shoot to the lead. Denny Hamlin would have a loose wheel. He would come into the pits. And right after that, he would have a caution for Eric Almirola. He'd get in the wall. Used some lap traffic, thought it was clear, wasn't in the wall, and then Denny Hamlin's crew was really angry about that because it kind of messed them up. If they would have just stayed out a little bit more, they could have got lucky with that. But
yeah, he actually got trapped 2 laps down, and I've seen it a lot tonight. The cars that they come into the corner, think they're clear, and just barely clip the nose of the one below them. So yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate for Almirola. But it's just one of the things.
Then Martin Truex Jr. would lead off pit road. He would lead for a little while. Then Almirola would spin yet again. Then it would be Martin Truex versus Ryan Blaney. Blaney would get into some lap cars trying to catch Martin Truex. Blaney just has a bad history with lap cars here. And caution for Clint Boyer. He would spin the same way as Almirola did 2 cautions ago. Just an unfortunate night for the Stuart Haas cars.
Yeah, because Clint, he's trying to get, he's one of the Bogle drivers trying to get to the playoffs, and he really don't need a bad night and spinning like it, and he's just like, oh no, here goes my whole playoffs. So, but he did end up good finish.
Kurt Busch would stay out. Then Harvick would be behind the wall because of some sort of clutch issues and transmission issues. That would end his night.
Yeah, it's not something you want to see your car just go to the garage, and I believe he's going to go change the transmission or something, but I ain't sure if they ever got out or not.
Yeah, I don't think they ever got out. No, I'm pretty sure they just thought, it's really too late to really gain any positions by now, so they just kind of stayed out there or stayed in the garage. So, I mean, he had a real fast car. I mean, he was leading a couple laps, and I think he was really close to Hamlin's speed.
Yeah, he was really fast and run good lap times, and just think, if he could have stayed out and Kyle Busch had trouble, he'd come out the points leader.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could have took advantage of that. Joe Logano could have took advantage of Kyle Busch's day, but they just never could. It's like when he has a bad day, everybody else does, and then somehow Kyle still ends up with a top 5 finish. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that no one could take advantage. Make it a little interesting going into the last 2 races. Now it's like a 30-some point lead. So basically, Kyle Busch is going to just DNF for it to be a nice battle. We don't really see a good battle for the regular season champion very often. I want to see how much they would actually care for that fight. If they'd be tied going into Indianapolis, would they, wreck each other for that 15 extra points?
I want it. Yes, it's good to get extra points, going into the playoffs like that. What if, Joey had some chances to really take advantage of it and really hadn't had none in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so Kurt Busch would end up winning stage 2, so Ganassi, they swept the stages.
Yeah, I ain't sure where Kurt come from. He was on a rail. Boy, he's coming to the high line, and he just took off from that last restart. And
then we never heard from him again. It was just like flips the switch, and then it just kind of...
It's like, if you're leading the race, you disappear for a while. And it's like, it's kind of a weird thing at Bristol.
Is there like a Bristol Mafia or something about
I don't know.
leaders? But Kyle Busch would stay out. I mean, he was like way in the pack, so this really saved him. He got to stay out. I mean, very old tires though, but somehow I guess tires didn't matter as much, which is really interesting. Why we didn't see more people trying to do that, but
yeah, I believe he couldn't race his way all the way up to the front. I mean, he really wasn't making the passes they needed to, but with the strategy here, he got him up front and he could hang on to that position.
Yeah, was able to use some clean air up there, even though Keselowski would get around him. But Kyle Busch would be able to use the lap cars to get around Keselowski, and they would just battle for the lead for a while. And then Martin Truex Jr. would have a flat tire, and there goes another leader. I mean,
yeah, you just don't want to lead here at Bristol until the last lap.
Yeah. So it'd have a caution for Bowman. He'd have a flat tire, get into Logano and Byron. So Logano's long day just got even longer there.
Yeah, Logano just hadn't had a great Bristol weekend. He got crashed out in the Xfinity race, and he's having all these tire issues and get lapped down and all that.
So Kyle Busch will lead off pit road. It'd be Kyle Busch versus Eric Jones. Kyle Busch would lead. Kyle Larson have a tire rub. Eric Jones would be passing Kyle Busch, and
Jones boy go to the lead.
And then I thought, he's going to run away with it. It's Eric Jones' day. Finally, he's going to get redemption from like 2017 when he was battling Kyle Busch for the lead. But then Ryan Blaney would blow a tire. That would also involve the 34, the 38, 48, and the 17. So unfortunate there. And Blaney was having a nice run.
Yeah, he's had a great run. I believe he got into, was it Daniel Hemrick? I believe he might have cut his right front, and it caused him to blow the tire in the next corner, and he kind of ran into Ricky Stenhouse.
It'd be Jones versus Busch again. Jones would take the lead, but then Matt Dibenedetto would just come out of nowhere and battling for the lead, and he would finally take it, and he would just take off.
Yeah, he had speed all weekend, really, in practice and qualifying, and he really stayed around the top 10 about the whole race. He ran a great race. He had an awesome intro to the driver introductions. I just like that. I think he's the favorite one. And he was just really showcasing his talent today.
And Eric Jones racing for the lead, got in the wall there. He'd get to the pit lane. I mean, I think he could have, made a run there at the end. At least added an extra one for Denny Hamlin to have to get through, but yeah, I think Denny Hamlin had some fresher tires towards the end. He would catch up to Matt Dibenedetto towards the last 10 laps. And
I believe if it went for some of the lap cars, I know Ryan Newman was racing Matt pretty hard. Got into his left front, and I believe that really killed Matt's car. I understand Ryan Newman was trying to, keep his points, right there. He's at the bubble, and he's trying to protect his position. But I don't think they should change any kind of outcome towards the end of the race just because you're trying to stay in the playoffs.
yeah,
I mean, this guy's going for his first win. Had a great run, and you just going to mess it all up. So
I mean, I don't blame Newman for racing him hard at all. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to get in the playoffs. I mean, we saw what he did in 2014 to Kyle Larson to beat Jeff Gordon and to get into the Final Four. I mean, that's just a racing deal. But
I understand, but Matt had a position, and Ryan should just let him go because he already had the nose in there. He shouldn't just go up there and hit him like that. But
yeah, I mean, racing hard, but just don't do something like that. So
I understand you blocking a little bit and taking the line away. That's fine, but you just don't just go up there and just run into him. And I believe if it went for that damage, Matt Dibenedetto would have been in a victory lane.
yeah, and with that damage, I mean, it slowed the car down by a couple tenths a lap, and that allowed Denny Hamlin to get around him past in the last 5 or 6 laps. So, I mean, just think of the possibilities. If Benedetto wouldn't have had that damage, he could have possibly. I think Hamlin would have still got there, but I mean, Benedetto could have, used his car a little bit more. I mean, it just wouldn't have been as tight, and he might have could have done something in the last corner.
Yeah, because he was still digging, he was still fighting for every last, every little space he had. He come close, getting back to Denny. But I believe if he didn't have that damage, he could have probably held him off, till the end.
Either way, still a great run for him. Not going to be in that ride next year. So, a win would have made it awesome to put on the resume.
Yeah.
But I think this does make a great resume anyway.
Yeah, if there's any teams out there that need to pick Matt up, I mean, we don't want to see him go away. We want to see him continue racing in the Cup Series. I don't know. Take Amarola out and put him in the 10 car.
Yeah, or the 38. It's opening up as well. I mean, there's a couple rides that he could go into. I mean,
I like to see him get in a top team ride. He deserves it. He's fought hard in his career, and he's had some great runs.
Yeah, but the major thing in NASCAR is, we just talk about Eric Almirola. Yes, he's had a rough season compared to last year, but Almirola has sponsors with him, and that's just the unfortunate case of NASCAR. If you don't have sponsors,
money talks.
Doesn't matter if you have, twice the talent as Dale Earnhardt did, which is pretty much impossible. But even if you didn't have sponsors, there's no way you're getting a ride.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go out there and lap the field 500 times and don't have sponsors. There's just no way you're getting a ride. So hopefully some sponsors. I mean, we're talking about the teams. We need sponsors to get on Dibenedetto as well.
And I believe, if you sign on Matt Dibenedetto, I mean, look at how much the fans really reacted to him almost winning his first race, and the fans just love him. He's very marketable. I see somebody else picking him up.
Yeah, so that was our race review. Congratulations to Denny Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing, their 4th win of the season. I mean, they're just peaking at the right time, which beginning of the year, it was Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. battling it out, and now it seems like Denny Hamlin has taken the reins of the best Joe Gibbs Racing driver at the moment, at least. Could change when we get into the playoffs, but it looks like Denny Hamlin, watching these two battle it out, he's just going to cruise right on by. I mean, he's tied with them for most wins of the season. I think it's all about peaking at the right time. We learned that last year, Joe Logano. We saw Keselowski win at the beginning of the year. Logano wins at the beginning of the year, and we just haven't heard much from them lately. Maybe they'll change going into Darlington, but
we have some comers and goers, so it's hard to. I mean, it ain't really a definite championship, won. I mean, it's just like, 1 week you're good, next week you're not, so it's hard to really tell who's a favorite going into the playoff.
Yeah, so stay tuned. But anyways, we have a off week for the Cup Series next week, but we are not going to be just going to take a break. We have the trucks and Xfinity going to some road courses.
Yeah, I mean, it's real exciting to see what's going to happen to road courses. I mean, they got on a run of those now, so we'll turn left and right.
Yeah, and for those that think that they're not going to see Dibenedetto race, he's going to be in the 18 in the Xfinity Series, so he's going to be in the top ride. I mean, if he doesn't get a ride in Cup, I mean, there's definitely some openings in the Xfinity Series. There's always is. So,
yeah.
Maybe with Christopher Bell going up to the Cup Series, maybe, I don't know if that was confirmed yet or not, but maybe he can take over the 20 ride.
Possibly.
But anyways, hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week for our Xfinity and truck reviews, and stay tuned for our Darlington logo. We might be releasing that pretty soon, so stay tuned on our Twitter.